Exercise from the United States, 15-year-old Amy Shear.
And Amy is somewhat of a European style, clean lines, dramatic. Hasn't really had her best meet yet. She's been plagued by a few injuries. Let's see how she performs her opening tumbling run. Oh, it's a little bit out of line there. Full twisting back handspring. Had a little trouble in practice on that move. Cost her a 1/10 of a point. As you can see, the music accenting every move. A required change of pace in her second tumbling run. They must have at least 3. Very clean double pipe. Moved away at the age of 12 in 1987 to train with Bella. Fortunately, her parents are with her now. And here's her tumbling run. Needs lots of endurance here. Double tuck, a little bit low, a few bobbles, but not bad.
The performance of Amy Shear, whose rise to stardom has been hampered somewhat by a series of nagging stress fractures that she has suffered.
Right.
Amy told us yesterday that she's allergic to milk, and doctors think that maybe that lack of calcium is directly direct result of some of those stress fractures.
Her tumbling elements were very high. She has a terrific takeoff position when she reaches for the opening tumbling run, the full twisting double back in the pike position, and her tumbling was clean and high, just a little sloppy on the landings, and we've talked so many times about how critical those landings are.
And we understand that Soviet trainers have been looking at the right ankle of Oksana, or rather Tatiana Groshkova. Could it have been that dismount in the balance beam?
Well, it could be just about anything with all the pounding they take, and as you mentioned, stress fractures and just stress-related disorders. It could be just about anything. It could be the simplest move.
Well, this is Oksana Chusovitina, second after the second rotation on the beam.
And this angle gives you a great view of that front flip and just how straight her shoulders, hips, and legs have to be as she performs the salto or the flip. Here's her gymnastics series. She has been so tough in this competition, led coming out of the blocks on the first event. This is where it is just so amazing, the depth of the Soviet team, that at any one time one could beat the other. Down off back layout. A little bit low on that. I've seen her do it higher in practice. You can see the concentration. She looks towards the end of that beam. There's an aerial walkover, just raised in value because less of the gymnasts were doing that particular move, and it was so graceful they wanted him to put it back in.
It's kind of nice to see that move again, isn't it?
Yes. Again, required full turning. You see that she didn't bobble on it, but she was very careful at the end there. And many times the easier moves, the dance moves, are more difficult than the really difficult acrobatic movements. And a double back turn ending. Good routine, good solid exercise.
Nadia Comaneci likes it. And we'll be back with more of the USSR gymnastics competition after this message. One of the interested spectators here at this USSR gymnastics meet, Svetlana Boginskaya, winner of the all-around championship at the 1990 European Championships. As we mentioned earlier, the Soviets' marquee name, Svetlana, is not competing here today. Coach is opting to give her some of the younger team members the benefit of international competition in hopes of finding the next Boginskaya. Beauty and elegance. Those will be Svetlana Boginskaya's gifts to gymnastics. There was a time, however, when a 14-year-old Boginskaya was similar to her teammates of today, a young gymnast struggling to make her mark. She began to blossom at the 1987 World Championships, earning a bronze medal on the balance beam. But it was at the 1988 Olympic Games that she established herself as a star, claiming a bronze medal in the all-around and a gold in the vault. The retirement of Olympic champion Elena Shushanova made Boginskaya the grande dame of Soviet gymnastics. In 1989, she proved worthy of that title. She won the all-around at the European Championships and again at the World Championships. By the dawn of a new decade, Boginskaya was clearly the best gymnast in the world, and clearly a young woman competing against little girls. But the long, elegant lines that set her apart are now becoming a liability, and at the age of 17, she is contemplating retirement. If she hands her crown to one of the tumbling tots who place acrobatics above elegance, gymnastics will still have been made richer by her reign.
Next up for the USA team on the floor is...
Well, Kathy and Bart, we talked to Svetlana several days ago, and she said that she really has in the back of her mind competing in 1992. What about it?
Well, I think motivation is the name of the game in this sport. There's so many young ones coming up, the new elements they do on the apparatus. The one thing she has, though, is that experience and that flair and polish that you just can't teach somebody at a real young age.
Well, it'd be wonderful to see her next year at the World Championships and also in the Olympics in Barcelona. And we'll be back with more of our gymnastics coverage right after this. Dual meet competition began. It was Natalia Kalina of the Soviet Union, but after a very unsatisfactory routine in the uneven parallel bars, she finds herself 11th after 2 rotations, Kathy. Now she's up
on the most precarious of all events, the balance beam, and it's very tough for a gymnast anymore to stay on top all the time. And as Bart mentioned earlier, there could be some fatigue involved here. This is a tough event. She has not had her momentum going for her so far, but let's see if she can get it together on this. A round off right to her back handspring onto the balance beam. As we mentioned earlier, it takes such amazing concentration. Full twisting back handspring. You can really tell when a gymnast is on. There's just a spark about them, and it's a little bit lacking here. It's clean, it's good, the lines are nice, the difficulty is there, but just not quite the, as I said, the spark. A little bit slower movement. That was her gymnastic acro series, one of the requirements, where they do gymnastics and acrobatic. Gymnastics meaning dance and acrobatics meaning tumbling. As you can see, everything seems a little bit labored. 2 back handsprings to allow. No major flaws. It would be more of a general deduction, general impression deduction. Not to say that this is not a good routine, because it is, just not up to her level at the Goodwill Games.
Her dismount will be a full twisting double.
Just a little step. You really have to stand up very high in the vertical position when you take off for that particular move, so that you can see the ground coming up.
9.95.
Natalia won the beam competition at the Goodwill Games. That was one of her 4 gold medals that she had harvested there in Seattle. And now Kim Zemeskel, 3rd rotation again. She is currently the leader. She needs better than 9.80 to move in front of Lishenova to hold on to first place.
And this is a wonderful event for her. She truly does have the spark today. She doesn't seem to be tired, as we thought she would be, because of practice. And here's her very first tumbling run, full in double back. Landed very well. Oh, it's so encouraging to have that crowd behind you. Watch this. Always gets a reaction from the crowd.
This tumbling sequence coming up is one of her more spectacular runs. She's going to do 3 whipbacks through to a double back.
really gives her the height at the end of that double pike. I think she feels she's on her way home at this point. She received a 9.95 in the all-around competition at the Goodwill Games on this event. Well on her way to receiving another one. Very nice routine.
Bella Caroli says she's a sleeping cat with a tiger's soul. And she is tough, I'll tell you.
This tumbling run is always a crowd pleaser. She's going to do 3 whips, whip, which is like a back handspring, or a very low back flip, through to a back handspring, through to a tuck double back. Terrific combination tumbling.
And at this point in the gymnastics season, the gymnasts have to be able to block pain out of their mind. At the Goodwill Games, Kim was hampered by tendonitis in both her wrist and ankle.
And Mike, she was being very cautious in practice and really didn't have a good warm-up session the last couple of days, our practice sessions. And she really, truly is a tough competitor, tough internally as well.
I think it has something to do with the atmosphere here. People are really pumped up in this building, and the kids are really responding to it. You know, we talked to them the other day, and they were all talking about going on vacation and getting away from gymnastics for a little while. They're tired. They're really pumped up today.
Well, Kim scored 9.975. You know, the United States produced all-around champions in 1987 and 1989 in Brandy Johnson. Maybe Kim Zanesko will be the next one. We'll have the 4th rotation for you shortly, but right now let's return to Roger Twibel in New York.
Thanks, Mike. We'll have more gymnastics a little later. The Arlington Challenge Cup today lands in East Rutherford, New Jersey, and for an update on that...
As dominant as ever, they lead after 3 rotations in this dual meet. However, in the all-around standings, Kim Zanesko of the United States has the lead and is in great shape to win an all-around title. She'll be up in the final and 4th rotation in the vault. You know, she lives on the same street as Bella's gym in Houston, and she took to the sport instantly. Just 14, she has her sights on the World Championships next year. Is all the training worth it? You bet. Summer afternoons at the shopping mall, where most 14-year-old girls practice being teenagers. But for Kim Zanesko, practice means long, rigorous days in the gym. A sacrifice? Yes, but already well worth it. This March, she won the all-around title at the American Cup, following in the footsteps of Nadia and Mary Lou. 2 other gymnasts, Bella Caroli, turned into stars.
We have usually about a 3-hour workout in the morning, and then in the school year, we go to school from 11 to 2:30, and then we go back to the gym at 4:30 until about 8, and then afterwards we have to do our homework. We don't usually talk very much in the gym. You have to stay concentrated, and we're in the gym for so long. You know, we always have to stay concentrated in what we're doing when most people are just out doing some, you know, playing around and stuff. And it helps, I think it helps me in school a lot too, because it makes me more serious to know that I have to do it.
We are strict and sturdy during the workout schedule, and that's the only way to pass some limits. We are talking about passing human limits of the human effort. So what other people would consider as a major sacrifice, no, that's a pride. They have the excitement of improving, of competing, and all these major satisfactions together, and really brings a happy life. They were happy kids. They are people I wish most of the kids in the world can have at least a little bit of the satisfaction what they are going through almost every day.
We are missing out on some things, but there's also a lot of things that the people that aren't gymnasts are also missing out on. Like, we get to go on a lot of trips, we get to meet a whole lot of people. It's just, I don't know, I don't know how it is really anymore, how it would be to be a normal person. But, you know, I like what I'm doing, otherwise I wouldn't be doing it.
And Kim's coach, Bella Caroli, he's reluctant to make comparisons, Kathy, but she says Kim at the same age has the same body type and power as Mary Lou and the same focus and power of concentration as Nadia.
Well, and also the incredible concentration that has paid off over this whole year when she's been in meet after meet under an incredible amount of pressure.
This is Natalia Lashenova of the Soviet Union. She is currently in 2nd place.
Music by Grieg in the